Hi, I'm your host, Darcy Zabel, and this week we're sitting down with Sherry Sanders. She's smart, strategic, a regular face at GAR conferences, and someone who knows how to blend hustle with heart. We're talking about wins, lessons, and even the what was I thinking moments that comes with just real life and real estate. Hi, friends. Welcome back. I'm Darcy Zabel, and today I'm sitting down with my good friend Sherry Sanders. She is killing it in real estate and just took home Blanchard and Calhoun's top honor, the President's Award. So welcome.
Thank you.
Yep. And
nice to be here.
Yeah, good. So let's just dive right in. The President's Award, Sherry. Top honor at Blanchard and Calhoun. When you heard your name called, what was your first thought?
Well, he kind of leads up to it. And when he mentioned the year the person started, I knew that was my year. And then when he said, I was a corporate member. And then when he said, started selling, I was like, in 2020, of course, year of COVID, who forgets that? I knew. And I was like, oh gosh, it was me. And I'm one that it's hard to surprise because when you surprise me, my daughter said in the video somebody recorded, you're not smiling at all. It's because it's just my reaction. Like it was kind of shock. I literally was doing everything but paying attention because I had no idea it'd be me.
Yeah. I was standing back and I was watching you while they were talking about you. And I already knew that you were getting the award, which I kind of deserve like a trophy for keeping that a secret. I feel like, because we're such good friends outside of work too. But it was, you deserved it. It was well earned.
Thank you.
So before President's Award, what made you say, I think I'm going to get into real estate? How did you end up in sales and real estate?
I come from a teaching background and sales background. And for about 2.5 years, I sold advertising sales to the real estate companies, the bigger ones. I did a magazine for our company, Blanchard Calhoun. I did one for another company. And I just like the sales. And we joked around saying if either company ever stopped their magazine, they were going to have to hire me. Well, Blanchard and Calhoun stopped their magazine. And as a joke, it was a joke, but then it became reality. So I thought I'd leave and just have a corporate job with a salary, not be like goals and money fluctuate. And then after about 2.5 years of doing that and coaching and doing the recruiting for the company, I was most excited in that current job by the sales and listings of the agents. So I decided I can do this.
Yeah. Just excited for them. And you were like,
I was like, they can be my own. I know how to do this myself. I can be happy about my own sales.
Yeah. So everyone sees the awards, but few see the hustle and the back work that goes into it. What does your average week look like? Like, what's that for you?
I'm an office person. Even when I was in outside sales prior to coming to Blanchard and Calhoun, I start in the office. So I wake up, get in the shower, like I have to be at work at 8 or 8:30. So I'm in the office, get all my materials, do all my calling. But I did forget that in the morning I do start with, I read a Bible verse every morning, and then I do gratitudes and affirmations. And then I write 2 notes a day, birthday, thank you, just checking in, and then proceed to get ready, head to the office. And mornings are at working in my business, like the paperwork, anything like that, printing out listing information. And then in the afternoons, I schedule appointments for showings and listing appointments and things like that. So the week kind of looks like that.
Yeah. And it's not just a 5-day-a-week job, is it? You work a lot weekends?
Yeah. A lot of out-of-town people travel, and most people there's still a lot of people that work those traditional Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. So evenings often, and then weekends.
Yeah.
Knew that when I was going into it. So comes with the territory. You have to be available when people need you.
Yeah, absolutely. So was there a moment when you thought, this is not going to work? This is not for me? Or something hard that you had to overcome?
I don't know if every transaction is different. So I don't know if there's one thing. I just know that sometimes, especially during the beginning in COVID, so many people were looking to get offices and pools and, because they were working from home.
Yeah, we were all trapped.
And there were lots of low inventory and lots of people looking to buy. So there would be times when I'd have a a person in a lower price area, I'd write multiple offers, and then when they didn't win, they'd be like, I'm done. I'm just not going to do it. So I had to motivate them. And so you're a little bit of a counselor, which I have a psychology background, so maybe that helps a little. So motivating them, and then internally it kind of, helped motivate me.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of psychology in real estate.
For sure.
Definitely. So is there something that you had to learn the hard way in real estate?
There's a lot to learn in real estate, but I would say a lesson learned was when I would write offers, I would ask the seller to provide a clear termite letter.
Right.
And it was always fine until it wasn't. When the actual termite report is a report that has other things beside termites. It's called a wood infestation report. And I had a buyer, there was some other organism other than termites previous, and was nothing we could do. It wasn't active, thank goodness, but I learned that I say a clear wood infestation report on all contracts for buyers to cover everything.
Right. Nothing is a problem until it's a problem.
Exactly. And I got offers, and I wondered what that meant, but I never, when I had listings, never really knew. It wasn't often, so I was like, I wonder what they're writing, but I know what a wood infestation report is now.
Let's see here. Is there a strategy or habit that you think has really moved the needle for your real estate business?
I think the company's really good. I think Lolo helps. It helps keeping the database current. And now I'm cycling through where I've sold houses. I've been in the business long enough that they're reselling, moving, and just staying in touch with them because you want to be on their mind. My saying is last one in wins. So if you're not keeping in touch with them, somebody else will be.
That's right. And I think your consistency, like just every day you're in the office and you know what you're going to do. And it's so hard for independent contractors, because real estate agents are independent contractors, to have that self-motivation and self-discipline to do that.
I mean, you know me well enough that sometimes on Fridays I don't come in, but there's a little guilt factor. I do have a problem. Like, people are like, you actually get up. Yeah, I get up at 6:30, get in the shower before my husband, and I leave the house between 8 and 8:30 unless I have to go somewhere earlier and there's not office time. But if I'm home early, sometimes I feel like I'm cheating or skipping out on work. It's hard sometimes. So I like the consistency.
Well, if you take Friday morning off, I bet you're still going to be working Saturday afternoon.
That's true. I mean, and it's really hard when I started for people to understand the job. They're like, oh, like my mom and my husband, oh, are you working? And I'm like, I work 24/7, 7 days a week. I schedule my time off. So I don't have to be somewhere. But like you said, my schedule isn't really controlled by me. It's controlled by buyers and sellers too.
Right. So we're regulars at GAR conferences. You and I always go and travel together to the GAR conferences. We're roomies. So what keeps you going back? Like, what makes you?
I think that any career you're in, you have to keep up with what's going on in it to be effective and know the latest and, greatest things. So I enjoy the places they pick, and, it's a trip, and then we get to learn about new things. We get to hear speakers, we get CE credit, and then meet new agents from other companies, and all in the state of Georgia. So the camaraderie is great too.
Absolutely. I 100% agree with that. It's fun to get out of town and get remotivated from, and, it's, while routine is super important, it's nice to break that routine and be refreshed
and learn things.
Right.
This isn't rocket science. We're not reinventing the wheel. So if somebody's found an easier way, and the collaboration we share, a lot of the classes, you learn a lot of things and take away a lot of stuff because we bring all that back. And our, Stacy at the board shares that with everybody in a newsletter. That's the reason why we go, to bring back valuable stuff for other agents.
Right. Any mind-blowing speakers or a session that stands out?
Seth Wiseman, I won't say he's mind-blowing, but it's mind-blowing because it's very, he's not trying to motivate us, but he motivates us by keeping us up. He's the attorney for the GAR in the state of Georgia. So he tells us of the biggest updates. It's a CE class and very well learned. I can take a new class for contracts and the changes multiple times. So it's nice to know. He always points out the big things, the main things that we all need to know and keep up with.
Right. Right. One thing that I think about is a few years ago when we went and I think Seth made a point that really changed your business with seller concessions.
He did. He talked about the buyer brokerage and talked about when we are buyer's agents about making sure that when we sign those agreements that we know our worth and we make sure we put it in writing. And so I had been doing that prior to. I was probably one of the first agents around that was actually, I always had them sign the buyer brokerage, but I didn't really value the worth. I mean, as far as compensation and things like that. So it's a conversation that I was already having and explaining my compensation and how I'm compensated. So it was an easy transition when the NAR and the Department of Justice came up with all the new things and new ways to do it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And it's a true benefit to your clients so that they know what services they should expect.
Exactly.
And
what I do to make sure that they get those. Yes.
Yeah. And you definitely were a trailblazer on that. I think you were the first in the company to be really embrace that whole change.
But it was, like I said, that's why I guess I give Seth the credit because it was important.
Right. Right. Let's see here. A favorite tech or app that you couldn't survive this market without?
I use the Flex app a lot, especially if you're out showing and you pass one and the client's like, oh, can we see that one too? Or if they like an area or neighborhood, you can go in and it pulls up the information and it's an easy way to get the agent and see if you can get into houses, So It helps a lot and know if it's still available. A lot of times they'll see a house and it might not have under contract, but it's not available.
Yeah.
So I use that pretty often.
Well, what about, I know you're licensed in both Georgia and South Carolina, and your business is pretty split. You're pretty 50-50, Georgia, South Carolina. Right? Pretty 50-50?
Right. Yeah.
Okay. And that Forewarn app that South Carolina has, you use that?
I do. Thank goodness for it. It is one, we do floor duty. And so you get a lot of calls from people you don't know. And even when you list things, you just get a lot of calls from people you may not know or have any information about. And if you have a cell phone number, you can put it in the Forewarn app and it will tell you if there's any legal things against them, like violations, felonies, misdemeanors. So if you don't see anything, it at least gives you a little clarity and a little more confidence that you're not meeting somebody that, we have to be very careful in the business because we do meet a lot of strangers.
That's right. It's nice because you put that number in the app and then it tells you what their actual name is. So hopefully whoever they said they are matches.
Exactly. Because we have some things that go on and people try to sell things that they really don't own. And so, yes, it does validate. And it does, even though it's just for South Carolina, it does any number. It's just, it's a feature of being a member of the board in South Carolina.
When I tested, I put my phone number in. It came back with like every car I've ever owned. Too.
Yes. It'll do former addresses.
Crazy.
Yes. It's
crazy. Yeah. Okay. Well, is there like an old school tech now? We've talked about new technology. Is there something old school that you still do every day or still use relevant in your business?
I'm a list maker. I do schedule all my appointments through Outlook and I look on Sunday and kind of see what's going on for the whole upcoming week. But I have a legal pad and I date it and I put notes on it. I have a pad in my car that I put notes in front of me, like what my to-do list that has to get done that day. And I get a small feeling of success and pleasure when I get to cross the things off and get them done. So I'm a list and, always have a legal pad going and I save them, can always go back and reference them.
Yeah, we're the opposite in that. I'm taking no notes.
Yes, I know. We've been in classes together, no notes. And I feel like I retain it. So I write it, listen to it, read it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm very auditory. If you say it to me, we're good. Yeah. We're done.
I've been there with you. Yeah. You make the better grades than me and I'm taking notes and everybody laughs at me because I'll have books going through my legal pad.
Yeah. It's funny. So you meet a lot of clients, you meet a lot of people in real estate. Is there like a crazy story, a funny story, or just something like touching? that you remember?
Yes. A couple of years ago, I had a client and I was on floor duty. She called and it was one of a particular sign that she called off of. And she was standing in front of the sign and it was it wasn't available. It was pending. And I said, do you have a realtor? And she said that you're working with. She said, no, I just ride around. And when I see houses and that have signs, I just call the number on the signs. And I said, well, how would you like to just have one person, that could be me, that could help you with any house you see and actually provide houses? And she said, really? That would be great. And she was military. This was her first home. And she had some small children. So got to meet her husband, her son. And when we did a testimonial video, she was one of the persons I thought of. And when I heard it, I almost cried because she was like, I just was there for her family. I mean, you
That's
know
right.
it, and people say thank you, but I would hire Sherry. Just the endorsement she gave me, like somebody that was in the room said, I would hire you, just from what she said. So it was really touching to know that you're buying a home or selling a home is a very big thing, big deal, and a stressor. So when you hear somebody say it, just not when the transaction's over, just at a different time, really meant a lot.
Yeah, I remember that video. She said, you just don't even know what she's done for my family.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Jamie, our marketing director, she said, I wanted to hire Sherry to be my agent.
Yes, it was very touching. She came straight from the field. So she was in her Army fatigues when we videoed it. So, but that willing to come and come and take time out of her busy day with small children to do that video it was touching.
Yeah, right. Well, it just shows like real estate's such a personal business that you get so involved with these people's lives because we're not selling houses, it's, selling them a home where they're going to bring their babies home to, and they're going to, mark on the door frame as the kids get taller.
Yes,
stuff like that.
It's different. She was actually the same client that I had another agent in the company. I had to be away for a day and she wanted to see houses. So the agent and I went out together because I wanted her to meet, and it was so funny. The other agent's style was like, how are your kids? I mean, everybody does it different, and just seeing her with my client, like, how are your kids? And I'm all business. Like the relationship builds during the search or the sale of the house. But I put the, professional and the other agent's just, equally successful. She just does it a different way. All the, building comes, right. But, they expect you to be serious, like I said, it's a serious thing. So that's kind of how I put it, but it was kind of a neat thing.
Right. Right. So what's your go-to recharge after a hectic week? How do you bounce back from that?
I get energy from other people and events and things like that. I kind of have two ways. During the week, I try to walk on the treadmill. And, it's always good. They say something about clearing your mind. They've done all these studies about if somebody walks. So it's supposed to be good for you. And, it's good all the way around and you can decompress. But after a busy week or whatever, I like to spend time with friends and family, dinner out. I like to have things I work toward. When I know I have a good outing, it gets me motivated through the week to look forward to something fun.
Right, right. Well, I know you enjoy going to Atlanta to see that grandbaby.
Oh, yeah, for sure. He's the reason you got to work extra harder. Yeah.
Yeah.
And his dad said, he doesn't need a lot of clothes. We just need to start the college fund. I was like, oh. He said, none of us can quit our jobs because we all he's the first one for a lot of us, and both sides of my daughter and her husband. So we're all like, we all have to keep working because Alden is the name. He needs lots of stuff, and we want to make sure lots of stuff.
He's a month old, but we already know that he needs all the things.
Yeah, he knows he needs them all too. And don't you worry. My daughter knows he needs all of the things.
Yeah. So I know your husband and y'all are Georgia fans, but Alden's dad is Ohio State Ohio State, right?
Yeah, it's Ohio State.
So, yes. Since Jeremy's so Ohio State and y'all are such a Georgia house, raised Mary Catherine in the Georgia house, how do you think that's going to go since Jeremy's already worried about the college fund?
He says he's going to encourage him, Georgia, probably because Jeremy's also very smart with money and knows that's in state because he doesn't ever have a goal to ever go back to Ohio. And
Right.
so he knows Georgia would be an in-state. Yeah. So he's going to encourage them. And anytime they're not playing Ohio, Alden, he's got little outfits to support Georgia. Yeah.
I have no doubt that your husband has made quite sure of that.
Yes. And Jeremy's good. His dad is a good guy. He tries to play both. Yeah.
He is the sweetest husband.
He is very much. He's very lucky.
He is. So what advice would you give a brand new agent who's just trying to survive year one in real estate?
Listen, soak up all the classes, the courses, get with agents that have been successful. And our company's fortunate. We have a mentoring program, and I've mentored several new agents. But keep up with clients, keep up with your database, update it, because when you get to a point that you're busy, you don't have time. And that could be a way you miss out. And there's nothing worse than seeing a house you sold somebody be listed with somebody else. And like I said, it was just because you didn't stay top of mind or just let them know you were still out there selling real estate.
Well, even when you're just getting in the business, building your database is so important. When you first got in the business, you didn't have clients who you had sold houses to put in your database. No,
I didn't. I didn't even have, couldn't even go out because when I started April 1st, it was COVID.
That's right.
And we were sheltering in place. I left that corporate job and said, I love this company, but I'm going to go sell like we talked about earlier.
That's right.
I gave my notice that I was going to stay and start April 1st and March 13th, Friday the 13th. We had a toilet paper shortage and, so I was sheltering. And so I had a little time to write notes and send them out. Guess what? I'm selling real estate, get my cards. But yeah, it was definitely a learning experience.
Real estate during COVID was definitely different. Like going into people's houses with the gloves, the masks.
Couldn't do open houses. I remember I had a realtor luncheon and box lunches. You couldn't have anything out. You had to just, basically it was like drive through almost. They could come in and sit,
yeah, that's right. You did a open or broker.
I was one of the
house.
first that did a broker luncheon.
It was box lunches and then but even like showing houses was just so different. You were like almost scared to go into people's houses. It's just such a crazy time.
Yeah, you had hand sanitizer everywhere, gloves, you went through it all.
The hand sanitizer, all of it.
We survived though.
We survived it. And now like thinking back on it, wasn't it you that just pointed out to me that was like 5 years ago?
Yeah, April. Yeah.
5 years ago last week that from the beginning of COVID and everything. It's like hard to believe that was that long ago, but also like just
seems
how
like yesterday,
different the world was. Yeah. Yeah. It's mind blowing. So what do you believe separates a good agent from a great agent in your eyes?
Follow up with customer service. Always you don't want them to ask you. You want to like always be giving them the information. Trustworthy, honest. I mean, when you have to go look at someone's house and they want to list it for this, you want to make sure that they believe you and you're honest and trustworthy. And I think we do all kinds of training in the company that those are two of the qualities that most people looking for an agent want them to be.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think also and even I think in that video we talked about earlier, just being the person that calls them back.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They'll be like, you're the only one that's called. And I got a call one time on a Saturday and I said, what made you call me? Someone I didn't know. And they said, well, we went to one of the Google Zillow, a page, and we had hours. And they said I was one of only 2 or 3 agents that said I worked on the weekends. I'm sure it was just a fault of not updating it, but it's hard to do this business. Like you said, you do have to be very, very flexible and available.
Right. And inventive, dedicated,
creative. Yeah. All the adjectives. Yeah.
Creative. Okay. So, first thing you do, first thing you do after winning a big listing? Give a celebration, song, a dance.
I probably come into the office, just get it. Get the sides, start talking about video, get ready to get all the marketing started. Yeah. And, internally we can share it within our company, want to let the company know I've got something good. coming up. You know, there are
Right.
times of the year we're about to hit spring season, so we've got lots of things
Get in the
after.
car and do a little
Yeah.
happy dance.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Or call it just I'm just happy inside. You know, happy
Yeah.
for
Funny. Do you have a dream vacation?
I like tropical sun. Maybe like Turks and Caicos, somewhere tropical, maybe an all inclusive. You know, I mean, and I do want to go to Italy. I definitely want to go to Europe.
Yes.
They have good stuff over there, as you know, for better prices than we have
Love-
over here. So yeah,
Love Italy.
like a big thing in Europe and some of the major big cities.
Right. Right. Okay. So texting or phone calls?
I prefer phone calls, but we do have a lot of clients that when they're referrals, it'll come in that they want to text first. But if it's something where I'm competing, I feel like sometimes people call first. So I'll try to do a quick text and then say, I'm going to call you.
That's
So
right.
yeah. So I followed their directions, you know, what they prefer. But a lot of times people are at work. So, you know, but texting just gets hard. And sometimes it auto corrects and, you know, like,
Autocorrect.
whoa, yeah. I did learn you could take a text back, but
Yeah, but that's awkward
Yeah.
though, because
Yeah.
they see that
Yeah.
like undo
Yeah.
send
Yep.
pop up on their
Yep.
screen. And then I'm immediately like,
why?
What?
Yeah. Or I see edited. Yeah. Like, yes. Yeah.
What did they not want to say to
Yeah.
me that they said and then they thought
But I
better
type
of?
fast and I'm like a one finger typer. And then all of a sudden I'll say something like, and then I'll put a question mark and it like, and then I have to go back and say, no, sorry, the question mark was an accident because it changes the whole meaning of the
Yes.
sentence. So,
Yes, tone does.
and sometimes it's too much to text,
Yeah.
you know, and I just I like to talk. When I did open house Sunday, I want to call the seller and I want to tell them all the good stuff or the bad stuff. It was good stuff Sunday, but I want to let them know and just have that personal touch. So I
Right.
prefer that, but you have to ask when you're getting the clients what they prefer.
That's right. All right. Well, I guess that's about all I have for you today. So thank you so much for joining me
You're
for this week.
You're welcome.
You're somebody who's just killing it in real estate. And I know that 2025 is going to be no different.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I hope so. Going to work hard for it.
Yeah. Right. Well, again, I'm the host, Darcy Zabel, here with Blanchard and Calhoun, sitting down with this year's President's Award winner, Sherry Sanders. What's the hashtag? Sold on Sherry.
Sold on Cherry.